What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie. This is part 3 of my going down the Jethro Tull live release rabbit hole. Recently tackled their studio albums, which I'm really familiar with, at least up through like early 80s. And then realized there's a bunch of live albums I had never heard. The only one I'd ever heard before was Bursting Out, which is fantastic. So I'm listening to them in order, and I'm going to rank them when I'm done because I like that. So we're on part 3 right now. This is the 3rd official release in order, not of like the order of the shows and when the shows were played, but, you know, in their releases. And this is 1992's A Little Light Music. This is from their European 92 tour. And this album actually came out in the US in September. And then 3 weeks after the album was released, which I didn't even know the album was released when it came out, I went and saw them on this tour at the Warfield in San Francisco. Similar set list. They did open up with the same 2 songs. I know that for sure. And a number of the same songs appeared throughout. This was from the Catfish Rising tour. This one is billed, I believe, is like semi-acoustic, at least the album is. I don't remember the show I saw being semi-acoustic. There was like acoustic stuff because it's Jethro Tull, but I don't remember it being like predominantly leaning toward acoustic stuff, though maybe I just blanked that out. But the album kind of is. This release is, so maybe the European tour was a little more acoustic-centric than my version, the US version was. It's a single CD, 17 tracks, a nice variety of songs, and also considering what I've heard on the first 2 albums, some songs that were not on the first 2 albums. We get a lot of new stuff. We get some of the stuff that is a repeat. We get another Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. I think that's been on all 3 releases so far. Kind of surprising that I didn't think that would be the song that became the staple of their releases. But it is. A New Day Yesterday is on here, which is pretty fantastic. I think it's one of the highlights of here. Also, we get another Beret, which was on one of the releases. Pussy Willow, I think, was on the previous release. And then we also get a Locomotive Breath repeating from the previous release. But we get a lot of, like, I guess, deep cuts. We get a couple Catfish Rising tracks. We get a number of stuff off Living in the Past, which is kind of cool to hear those songs. I do have a couple issues with the album. It isn't a traditional live album in the sense that, it is a traditional live album in the sense that I don't believe these are from a single show. They're from a variety of shows in May of 92. So a lot of the songs, like the audience noise fades out at the end. So it's like a standalone track. I don't like that in my live albums. Like, put in fake audience noise, put in fake crowd noise. Create the illusion that I'm listening to a single show instead of reminding me that I'm just getting the best of various shows. Minor complaint, but it is something some live albums do that I don't appreciate. And then also, acoustic music live sometimes doesn't work for me because of the sound of the acoustic guitar. This is one of those where I'm not the biggest fan of the way these guitars are mic'd. You don't get that full hollow-bodied acoustic sound that I want. It's a little bit more like, you can tell it's being plugged in. You can tell it's being amplified. It's got that sound that, I don't know, 90s acoustic live. Just give me a full-bodied acoustic and put a mic in front of it and make them play into the mic. Even if it's not going to pick it up as well. So a couple minor complaints for that. Other than that, and I will say that the former complaint, the fade out, kind of ruins the flow of the songs, kind of breaks up the energy. So I do think it kind of hurts the album. And considering that there's a lot of like short acoustic numbers on here, I don't know. I think it could have been a better overall produced. Just fake that crowd noise. 17 songs. Opens up with Someday the Sun Won't Shine for You. Anytime we start off with harmonica on a Jethro Tull album, I find that odd being that it's not flute. So it's nice. We got a This Was track to open it up. Very bluesy, low key for like the first minute and a half. The full band comes in right before the 2.5 minute mark. Right before the 2 minute mark, get a little extra blues jamming at the end. Nice opener. I remember at the time, this and the second song, Living in the Past, that's also what they opened with. When I saw them at the Warfield, I thought that This Was opener. Fantastic to do something off This Was. And then the second song was an instrumental version of Living in the Past, just kind of modernized or streamlined, a little more like modern, not heavy metal guitar, but just that little more of a metal hard rock attack in the guitar playing that I really liked. Great start to the show. Just a great way to open the show. Everybody kind of gets a chance to flex their muscles a little bit. Everybody gets a chance to warm up. Another complaint, I'm not trying to fill this with complaints. Life is a Long Song is next. Great song choice. Not complaining about the song choice. But I think with Someday the Sun Won't Shine for You being the opener, kind of bluesy, we get that pseudo metal energy with this version of Living in the Past. I wish another like heavy electronic song had been, even if it had been a Catfish Rising song, even if it had been something a little more recent. But a little hard rock energy, I think, fits the listen better. Drop it immediately into Life is a Long Song. It's just a little bit of like, oh, okay, interesting. But it's a great song choice. I like the song choice. Though I like this, just not where it's played, but I do like that it is played. We get, what else do we get? We get Under Wraps, an acoustic, non-electric version of Under Wraps. It's instrumental, but it's cool. I mean, it's nice to hear these Under Wraps songs, but not acoustically. So, but not like with the electronic sounds that they used on the album. So that's cool. We get a Rocks on the Road, which is from Catfish Rising. I don't remember this song sounding as Dire Straitsy as it does live. It sounds very Dire Straitsy. Like there are other songs on Catfish Rising that are very Dire Straitsy. I don't remember this being one of them. This one sounds way more Dire Straitsy live. I think it's part of it is because Anderson on the Under Wraps tour hurt his vocal cords, and so he couldn't quite sing as much. So he does that more of Knopfler-like talking, but also even like Barr's solos at times sound Dire Straitsy, but he has a really, really nice, tasty solo in this. Really liking the set list so far. The flow is hurt by the production, but like two Living in the Past songs, you get a recent Catfish Rising, you get a Under Wraps, you got a This Was opening. Really good song selection. Nursey follows, so another sort of acoustic little number from Living in the Past. Then we get Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, which starts off like a strictly acoustic version. And I'm kind of disappointed for like the first 2 minutes because I'm like, I love the riff to this. The dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's just awesome. The studio version especially. Barr puts this little dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, this little like bend emotion in the final note of each one of those little runs in the riff. The riff doesn't drop until like the 2 minute mark. And then when it drops in, it drops in on flute. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, give me that electric guitar in there. They eventually end up saving the version, but I don't know. Sometimes I respect the fact that they're rearranging these songs and not playing them exactly as they do on the studio version. Mad props to that. I'm not complaining because they did it. I'm complaining because I just don't like the way they did it. Like, just give me the, give me that song. That's what I like about this song. Then we get a One White Duck, short little version of it. And we get a lot of Ian Anderson, like kind of talking about Martin Barr and his womanizing habits, but like he's making fun of him, he's joking. Then they go into One White Duck, a short little acoustic version. Then they play John Barleycorn, the Traffic song Traffic does on John Barleycorn Must Die. That's a traditional song, right? Yeah, it's a traditional song. I think the John Barleycorn version on the Traffic is pretty perfect. Like that's a pretty perfect version. This is a much bigger, more dynamic, a little like electric guitar energy in it, a much just grander scale of this song. And I can't say I'm the biggest fan of it. Like I don't think I saw them play this at the Warfield. I think they dropped it by the States. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember it. I think I would have because I was a huge Traffic fan in college. But I don't know. I don't like this version of it. I think the lyrics play better when you have that sort of simpler acoustic acoustic vibe, just because the story is pretty good and I don't know. But yeah, interesting song choice. There's a version of it that I think was released in Italy in which it's a duet with somebody. The version that we get here in the States and elsewhere, I think it's just Anderson singing. So it's like 6.5 minutes. I like that they're trying to reinterpret it and try to go big with it, but personally, I can't say I enjoyed it that much. And then what for me, I think is the biggest disappointment on this album, I feel bad making all these complaints, but I'm trying to be completely transparent about this, is they play Look Into the Sun, but it's an instrumental version of Look Into the Sun. That's it. It's just an instrumental version of a fantastic, fantastic song off Stand Up. There's a little like blues jam in it, but it's not Look Into the Sun. It's just this acoustic instrumental reinterpretation of it. Again, mad props for like thinking outside the box, but if you're going to drop a Look Into the Sun, just give me a Look Into the Sun. I did skip A New Day Yesterday between One White Duck and John Barleycorn. They play A New Day Yesterday. This is fantastic. It was fantastic. The other time I heard it, the Bursting Out version is fantastic. This is awesome. It's loose, it's jammy, it's rocking, it's electric, it's very playful. It's just absolutely amazing. I think they quote a traditional song, like maybe a traditional English song or an Irish song in the middle of it. There's something in the middle that I don't think is New Day Yesterday, and I don't think it's a new melody. I think they're maybe quoting something, but I don't know what it is. If you know, let me know, or maybe it's just they're tweaking the New Day melody and I'm just not recognizing what it is. But this is a good song. Probably the highlight of the middle of the album. Probably one of the highlights of the album. The New Day Yesterday is fantastic. They play a Christmas song. They play from Too Old to Rock and Roll, From a Dead Beat to an Old Greaser. Really nice, big, giant guitar moment in the middle of what is otherwise a nice, pretty chill acoustic treat. Kind of a good song choice. I like that. This Is Not Love. I think it's the opening of Catfish Rising, right? Pretty just full band rock and roll. Works well in the context of this album because there's so much acoustic stuff that anytime that like the full band rocks out, it's like, all right, good. This is what I want. So nice. We get a beret. It's got a bass solo in the middle. We got like a breakdown in the fun middle where they're kind of doing stuff. I think there's another traditional song that's quoted in the middle of this. The bass playing is really fantastic on this. Love this song. I could hear this in every show. We get a Pussy Willow off Broadsword. A little more electric than the studio version. I think the intro seems to be cut short, like the acoustic intro is cut short before the electric stuff comes in. It's an instrumental version of this again. I'm assuming all these instrumental choices are because Ian's just having problems singing. But it also sounds Dire Straits-y, even though it's an instrumental and there's no singing. There's a very Dire Straits vibe in this. And then we close out with a Locomotive Breath, which is, we get like 2+ minutes without it. I think it's like acoustic for the 2+ minutes. I think they do like an acoustic instrumental version of like the chorus verse or verse chorus before like the actual song drops past the 2-minute mark. And we get like the electric guitar comes in and we get the song proper. But yeah, it's Locomotive Breath. It's got that guitar sound, that sleek, more efficient, like attacking 90s version of a guitar. Great flute energy in Locomotive Breath. Yeah, it's just one of those albums where I think the trees do not make a more impressive forest. I think unfortunately the trees are very isolated because in the way it's like produced with the fade out of the audience. So it does just sound like a bunch of trees, and some of these trees are beautiful. Some of these trees I wish would grow a little more. Some of these trees I wish were, I don't know, had more flowers or had squirrels. I don't know. But interesting listen. My memory of seeing this show is better than my enjoyment of this album. Warfield, for one, is a fantastic venue. I think we were like 2 or 3 off the rail. We managed to get pretty close. Took Bart over early, hung out on Market Street before we went in. It was on Market Street, right? Yeah, I think it's on Market Street, Warfield. I haven't been there in a long time, sadly. But anyways, yeah, it had its moments. I like the set list. I like what they're trying to do. I just don't think the execution. I think maybe if they had released like, maybe they have, maybe somewhere down the line, there's a complete 92 show from Europe without any edits or cuts or anything. Maybe that's a little bit stronger. I don't know. But it was an interesting listen. I enjoyed it. If I had to rank these among the other 2 I've done, right there, it's third. It's my least favorite of the ones so far. I do have a video for each of those. Bursting Out's like one of the best live albums of the 70s, if not the best live album of the 70s. I'm sure there are others. I might put Yes Songs above that, though like sound quality wise and editing wise and sequencing wise, Bursting Out's probably an objectively better live album, but I might like Yes Songs a little more. I don't know. We'll discuss. We might do great live 70s rock albums at another time. And there's others that I really like. So anyways, also the King Crimson ones have grown on me over the years, but I think Bursting Out might be the best. Anyways, and the Live at Hammersmith one from the Under Wraps, I was not able to find that album, but that complete show, it was a radio broadcast, is on YouTube. I would check that out. It's got those electronic sounds, but it works as a complete show. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed that. But yeah, it's been a fun journey, man. So I'm doing it because I got a lot of comments on the Jethro Tull videos. People, I was encouraged, by sort of the Jethro Tull love to go down this rabbit hole. So thank you, people. I'd love to know your thoughts on this album, what I'm missing out on, whether there are tapes out there or like bootlegs of this tour that maybe make this sound a little fuller or better or more satisfying. But yeah, it was a good listen. I'm glad I listened to it, had its moments. But those are my thoughts on Jethro Tull's A Little Light Music. Thanks for watching. Let me share, subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. Let me know what you think of this release and go listen to Jethro Tull, people. Yeah, make your life better. All right, that's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.